Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen from the Dynamics world. Welcome for this new edition of QBS Talks, where we like to talk this afternoon about the optimization of your BREP process. I'm not alone in this call, so I'll have two colleagues joining me. They're both working on our very important department of partner care. So that's Anne de Jager. I can see him when I look at the right side, and Ernst Brandhorst, who is working from home. But of course, all new technology will help us to do this. And the idea is that I will do sort of an introduction on the generic aspects of the BREP process, help you to position the BREP offering as far as that's new for you. And then in the second part of the call, Anne and Ernst will help me with some more specific topics on what to do with auto billing, some smart tips around collecting your money faster and minimizing your risk. We expect that this session will take like 45 minutes, so let's see if we can do it in that time. So the first thing I would like to do is show you a picture of money, because I think it's important that we all understand that the BREP and maintenance and help desk is of course about serving your customers and make them happy. But I think it's at least as important for you all that you make money on this. So, just one slide to position this QBS Talks. We are a QBS group for the ones that are not familiar with us yet. We are a distributor for Dynamics partners. We used to have the name MasterVAR, if that sounds familiar. Today we help more than 425 Dynamics NAV, but also Dynamics CRM partners in 20 countries to improve their business. And we thought it was a great idea to deliver these events, these webinars on a frequent basis in order to help you improve your business. So if you're a QBS partner, you're probably familiar with it. If you're not a partner yet, we might seduce you and bring you up to the idea to become a partner. So there's a link where you can find all the benefits of getting a partner. Maybe good also to say that we will record this webinar, so it will be available afterwards if you would like to share that with colleagues. So just as a bit of context, I think it's good to have a look at definitions. So I'm a mid-aged guy, I would call myself, long in this business. So I use the term BREP, but I've learned today that BREP is maybe a bit old-fashioned term. My colleague said that's a term that we used in 2009. So wake up, Gus, it's already 2017. So what I've learned is that BREP is short for Business Ready Enhancement Plan. But Anna told me that today you can also say maintenance.
Yes, that's correct. Business ready. It applied in the early days to the NAV 2009 version, which was business ready, and today we have the perpetual version running. So just use enhancement plan or maintenance plan. That's
Okay, so I could use enhancement plan on that as well. Okay, so what I did is I found a nice slide, as you can see the picture of the smiling lady, but it shows us where a traditional Dynamics SMB partner, that could be you, sort of how they make their money. And my experience with working with partners for long years in many countries show me that the slide you see here gives sort of the split up of their total revenue, annual revenue. And you see that this slide says like 30% of all the revenue could be licensed. So that's new customers or existing customers that buy extra modules, extra users. Then the slide says like 45% professional services. So that's consultancy, development, project management, training. And it talks 25% support. And support here is translated as enhancement plan or maintenance. I think that the 25% for that is even on the small side, limited side, because I know partners that have 30, 35% of their annual revenue is maintenance. And even if it's only 25, then still one out of every 4 euros or Danish kroner or Swiss francs or wherever currency you have is has to do with this enhancement plan and maintenance. So I think it's a pretty important financial factor. Well, the next slide, I think, is a realistic one, because what what we see working with partners is that most of them are not really focused on maintenance and enhancement plans. So the question is, where is your focus? And what we see is a lot of partners focus on finding new customers and winning new customers and selling upgrades. And this maintenance plans are not always the focus. And the question, if of course, for you is that if it's good to have it. So just first to summarize, let's see what BREP, maintenance enhancement plan, means for customers, what it means for partners, or what it means for Microsoft. So first and foremost, I would say that if I were a customer, I would love to have a maintenance contract because it helps me as a sort of an assurance against having not enough knowledge, product knowledge. And is it that important in business applications like ERP and CRM? I would say, oh yes, it is, because as you know, it's not just a product that you buy and use in the same version for many years, but it's more like a process, right? Where you improve and try to get more out of it. Then we see that these software systems have continuous changes. There's rules and legislations where you expect, or your customer expect, that you and Microsoft together create stuff so that people can be compliant with the new rules and legislations. And of course, there's best practices in how we operate, and there's technical innovations like new versions of databases and reporting tools. Then, customers have change of employees. So there's new people coming in that need support. Question is, should you always do that by means of a help desk, or should you try to sell them training? There's product updates, right? There is knowledge updates necessary. Think about the year-end process. Typically something that everybody does only once a year. And then I strongly believe that enhancement plan and good help desk can prevent customers from getting more Excel and Access islands, can prevent them to get opportunity cost for things they failed in, and even loss of value. So my belief is that having maintenance plans for a customer is good because it helps them to get most out of the system, and it secures long usage years of the system.
Can everybody see the screen here? Because there's quite a few of us on the chat who are saying we're stuck on a loading page.
Aha. Thank you for the question.
I can't see it either. Now I can. Yeah.
Some can, some cannot. So I think it has something to do with the with connection. Could you check if there's a poor connection, or
it said something along the lines of waiting for you to share it again before I switched it off again.
Yeah,
some people have logged out, logged back in again and still can't see it. We've just got a black screen where it says loading. So when you're saying on this slide you can see, just be aware that quite a few of us can't.
Okay, sorry then for that.
That's okay, we're still here listening. Right, I'm going to shut up again now, sorry.
Sorry for the inconvenience. So I'll try even more to show my best part of my sexy voice. Hopefully that compensates a bit. That was a Dutch joke probably. And then, like we said, we will record it, right? So if you want, and afterwards you can see it, or we could send you the PDF, the slides, right? This, again, sorry. So, we said there's a need for these maintenance for customers, then there's also a need for partners, right? So I think selling knowledge is a business opportunity for all of you. And as your customers don't have enough knowledge, it is an opportunity. Then we all know that maintenance contracts is a recurring business. So if you get the contract right, you could expect money flowing in every year. And then, I would argue that maintenance contracts are easy to sell. I'm not sure if you're all on that page and you agree with me, but I think it is. And I know with partners that organize themselves well, they say, BREP is easy money, it's easy revenue, and it's easy margin. And on top of that, it's important for customer satisfaction. So if you have a well-organized, let's say, help desk, that could be part of this maintenance, right? And you take care of your customers, and you might even decide not to be reactive, but be proactive. That would help your customer satisfaction. And guys, satisfied customers, they pay their bills on time, they buy more, they want to stay longer, and they will tell to friends. So that's all important, I would say, right? And I know for many of you, you will say, or you will know that a lot of your new leads will come from existing customers, right? So important for partners as well. And then last but not least, what's in it for Microsoft? Well, as we all know, Microsoft is a public company. They're listed on that they're a listed company, right? So, they want to have predictive earnings. So the bigger the part of the revenue in Microsoft that is based on recurring, the less risk that they fail, and because of the failure, the share price will drop. Then, of course, they use the money that comes from, let's say, enhancement plans for sourcing their R&D spendings. And you might or might not know that Microsoft is the company in the IT world that spends far more R&D dollars than any other competitor. So this year, Microsoft spends more than 12 billion, that's 12 billion US dollars on R&D, not just for NAV or not just for CRM, but all over the company. But you know that if we look at a concept like Dynamics 365, we know that the spendings in NAV and in CRM and in Azure and in Office and in Power BI, right, will all come together and benefit us. So for Microsoft, BREP is also, the basis of growing market share. They like customers and happy customers as well. They would like to see customers to stay for long terms. And Microsoft sees it as an opportunity to cross-sell to other parts of the Microsoft stack. That's, of course, something you should do as well. And last but not least, also Microsoft would like to see leads coming in from happy customers. So, having said that, I thought it was a good idea maybe to spend a few minutes on one slide on the positioning. So, I've had a lot of discussions with partners in many countries about BREP. And, I would say and personally argue that software maintenance buy the rights to get new versions is sort of as an insurance against outdated software. Right? If I do buy software today, I buy NAV 2017, and I don't have a contract, and in 5 years from now, it's 2022 if I'm correct. But if then still work with NAV 2017, well, the world is changing fast, new rules, new best practices, new competitors, I would get less and less return if I'm still on the old version. I think we all understand that. So maintenance is an insurance against outdated software, where help desk probably is an insurance against lack of knowledge. Now, like with all insurances, you might wonder, why do I pay? And I know many of you will get questions that people say, okay, I got the invoice. Why should I pay the invoice? Or why should I continue my contract for a new year? Well, my best example here is I ask people if they own a house, and some business owners do. And then I ask them if they have fire insurance. Right? So they get money when the house burned down. And then they say, yes, of course we do. Like most people think it's a logical thing. And then my last question is, did you have a fire accident last year? I hope not. And then, of course, most of them will say, well, we have not. And then I say, well, then you probably terminate your contract, right? Because you didn't get any out of it. You didn't have any fire. And they say, no, I continue the insurance because I might get a fire next year. Well, wouldn't that be similar for support and new versions? Maybe you did not upgrade last year, but still happy to get access to the newer versions, right? And as you know, the versions come faster and faster. Same with help desk. Maybe you call the help desk only 5 times in a year, but those 5 were that important, right? Life-changing, or how you want to call it, that doing it without would be a very big risk. And if I put myself in the shoes of any NAV customer, I would say if I would not have a help desk where I could, rely on people, on knowledgeable people, what would be my alternative? That isn't doing nothing. That's not really an alternative. Or I would hire an NAV consultant. Well, most of you will know what the cost is of an NAV consultant, because maybe you're a consultant yourself. But think what your boss is paying for a full loaded salary, including PC, training, holidays and everything. So we know hiring an NAV consultant is much, much more expensive. So I would like to see this all as maintenance on one side, and I would see it as resource sharing on the other side. And again, it says frequency of the number of calls versus the impact. It's not always that you can say, I pay 10,000, I call 10 times, so a call is 1,000, that's expensive. That's not really the way we should position it, I think. Right? We say, like the fire brigade, we're waiting every day, the people are ready, and as soon as you might have a fire, we're there, and we try to solve the problem. So then your help desk is often the lifeline to your existing customers. And I know that some of your salespeople will visit them to go drink coffee, ask how they're doing. But even if they don't visit, their lifeline, their line of contact is help desk. And that brings me to the question, I can't raise it because I can't see you and maybe you can't say anything, but you might wonder what is the level of people that you put on a help desk. And maybe that's even a bit awkward if you work on the help desk yourself sitting in this call. But what I see is that a lot of partners put, let's say, their most experienced and best people in pre-sales because they want to win the deal, which I can understand. But I know from partners that did that and then changed it around and said to customers, maybe our pre-sales demos are not that great, but the reason is we put our best people on the help desk. And think about it. How long would a demo take? That's a day or half a day or maybe 2 days. And how long you want to benefit from a help desk? That might be 10 years, right? So I think interesting stuff to think about how you position it and also how you resource your own service. Now, if customers don't have maintenance or enhancement plans, right? Like we said, they stick to the initial implemented version. They can't go up, which often means that the usage of functionality will decrease, right? They start using less and less, as if it's a car where they learn to use 5 gears, and if you come back after a year, they only use 4 gears, and after 5 years, they only use the first gear. And how fast can you drive in the first gear? But you paid for a full car. So if you start using less of the functionality, probably your satisfaction will go down. You'll see the return of the information islands, and wasn't NAV bought because to kill all those Excel and Access, then people will go to bad or even negative return on investment, and you can count what will happen after a couple of years. They say goodbye. So that's not what we should do. Now let's make it a bit more practical, like we said in the invitation. So I want to dive in a little bit more on the invoicing process, high level, and on the collection process. So if I see partners invoicing for maintenance, there's basically 2 ways that they do it. One is they do it on a calendar year basis, so they bring everybody to the 1st of January date and then send out bills at the same day for 12 months going forward until the end of December. I think that's a majority, or a minority. That's the lowest number, although we argued a bit in the preparation of this call. And our impression is that the bigger number of partners says, we win a deal on March 26, and then these people pay for 12 months until March 26 of the next year. If you have the first one, you can organize a big bulk, send out of invoice, and maybe a larger volume approach in collecting the money. If you do it, by the date where they sign, then probably you have to renew and send invoices, maybe every day, every week, or whatever you do, right? So the question then is, when you send out your invoice, what we see is that most partners send it out too late. So in the example where you do it on a calendar year basis, so it starts 1st of January, I know partners that say, whoa, 1st of January is a day off because of the new year that started, and then we get reception, and then we got drunk a bit, so we start invoicing on the 10th of January, and then there's 30-day payment time, and then we allow them 60, and then once we start calling, right, by the time we want to remember them, they have to pay, there might be 2 or 3 months gone. And if you then have a discussion and they might end up not paying, you already delivered 2 or 3 days, 3 or 3 months of services, which you cannot get back. So advice here would be start invoicing early. So if you have 30 days payment time and your contract starts on the 1st of January, I would say ultimately the 1st of December of the year before you start invoicing, so that if you get a call on the 2nd of January, you could say, I see we didn't have your payment yet, right? So we allow you still to get support, but if you don't pay before January 15, I'm sorry, but then we cannot help you. Something like that, in your own words, that fits your own culture. You don't have to be aggressive, but it's good to be clear on that. Second point is, how attractive is the invoice layout? Well, I've seen examples, I'll show you some examples in a minute, where the invoice layout was very, very poor. It probably says 1st January, December 31st, and then a big number with a euro sign or a Danish krone sign or a dollar sign, and then no explanation. And then, ladies and gentlemen, you can wonder what will happen if such an invoice would land on your desk and somebody says, please sign off, and you have no idea what it is. What do? I think the first reaction is ask for help. So they put it aside, which means that they don't pay as fast as you would like to. Then the collection process often starts too late as well. If you start invoicing too late, you probably also start collecting too late. And like I said, if the services are delivered already, you can't get it back, right? If you deliver them a computer, they don't want to pay. You say, I take the computer, bring it back. But the service is not tangible. And then the last question is, do you motivate people enough to pay? That might sound silly because they have a contract that they signed and they have to pay. But if they don't know what it's for, right, that might not really be a motivation. So for the people who can see the slides, I now push the button and show you a layout of an invoice. And I know it's an old invoice, sorry for not updating the dates, but I'm pretty sure that this group of people is intelligent enough to see that 2009 could be 2017. So it says Prague, March 24, and it says BREP. And for us, it's already difficult to understand what it is. I don't believe any of your customers will know what BREP is. So that's pretty much inside out. And as you can see, January 1st, December 31st, 30,000 euros. And it says, please pay the invoice within 14 days on this account number. Well, to be honest, if I would receive something like this, I would not pay. I would raise questions, and even if somebody would explain, I still would have problems to pay. So, one step ahead is that I show you another invoice, right, that says invoice, that doesn't talk about BREP, but it says this is our invoice for a full year support on your Microsoft Dynamics NAV system. We're pleased to serve you another year. Please read also the letter that accompanies this invoice. And then it says period, January 1st, December 31st, with the year behind it. And it shows the products. So it says an NAV, this number of concurrent users, these modules, this database, reporting tools, what have you. Still the same amount of money, but at least, it's tried to give some clarification. Don't forget, the people that have to review your bill and say it's okay, they might see 100 bills a day or maybe even more. So how much time would they spend on your invoice trying to understand, right? And then, in small, in the bottom of the letter, it says, thank you for paying this invoice, right? Probably be a little bit friendly. So, and of course, you can make more of this, but my main point, I think, is to let you understand that, the more you explain on an invoice, I know it sounds silly, but the quicker people will pay. Now, I said in this thing, please read also the letter that comes with this invoice. So what I see is that partners that have difficulties in the collection process, and they start sending out in January and then in March or start calling, but maybe in April, still no money. So sooner or later, there will be a point that you will visit the customer to have a conversation around it, right? And the customer knows that you're coming. Maybe you bring your boss and they already said, okay, we decided we don't want to pay because 30,000 for 3 calls is waste, is nonsense, right? So you'll have a difficult call. You have to spend time. You have to travel there. You have your travel cost. And what are you going to do there is explain them why it's reasonable for you to charge the 30,000 in this example and why they should pay. But the reason might be good, but maybe your timing is bad. So I'm a bit surprised. Oh, it's here. Sorry. So, sorry, because I put it on the wrong place. But we're looking now, and hopefully you do the same, to a document that says subject explanation to invoice. And it says, dear customer, as your partner for NAV, we made a lot of progress last year in order to optimize our support and service. We have, as an example, we have increased your capacity. So we get extra people on the help desk. We got longer opening hours, right? If that's the case. One slide further. We were there. It says maybe you didn't have frequent contact or maybe you didn't call us every day, but we want you to know that we were there all time. We were waiting for you. We're well-trained people, ready to action, like the fire brigade, right? Please be aware, right? And we will be next year. And then it says, the new year, it says here 2009, but you could of course say 2018. The new year 2018 will be challenging for you and us. We expect the launch of a new version of Microsoft Dynamics 365 called Tenerife, right? We will train all our people. We already did that, right? We're able to serve you. We're waiting for your call. We're happy to get rid of your fire if there's any. And then it says, a new assurance contract. So your contract is assurance to prevent you against, your software getting outdated and so on and so forth. Thank you for being a valuable customer in 2018. We wish you all a successful new year or whatever it is. So the main message here is that if you have your reasons why people should pay your invoice and why they should stay customer, why not do that up front? Why not, send it with your invoice and maybe put it on your website so that people get the message in early in the year, let's say December, if you send out your invoice, and probably they will pay faster. And that's my experience. So 2 steps to the other slide, right, is then a few of the improvements ideas, and then we jump into Anna and Ernst to have a look at the system and some practical other tips. So first step is, do you understand your own support contracts, right? I talk with help desk people and support people, and if I ask them what was the last time you read your own documents, some people get a little bit red collar and start laughing because some of them have never read their own stuff, right? And because of that, they don't know their own obligations. They know their rights, pay your money as fast as you can, but you know, you should do something for the money, and it's important, I think, that you understand your own obligations and your own SLAs and your own, you know, what people can expect from you. And then I think, you know, of course, you should deliver concrete benefits. If I ask partners, so what does a customer get for their contract, then they say they get an invoice. And if they don't pay on time, they get a reminder. But that's not really what your customers are looking for. So I see partners in my practice that send out a newsletter with tips and tricks. I see partners that send out the top 10 questions. These are the most raised questions, or they put it on their website with all the answers in order to avoid that they do one-on-one answering. I see partners that send out information proactively about the impact and consequences of new versions. And this is going to be more important because, you know, we're moving in the cloud. It's not a new version every 2 years anymore. We had NAV over the last few years, 1 version a year. With 2018, we will have one, starting with 2018, we'll get a new version every 6 months. So it will be, as announced in Madrid 2 weeks ago, on the 1st of December 2017, we get Dynamics NFV 2018. And in spring, so that's, let's say, 4, 5, 6 months later, there will be R2. And I got confirmation last week on QBS Share Germany that Microsoft, yes, indeed, we're moving to a 6-month upgrade scenario. So it's even more important for you to inform your customers. I know from partners that do information sessions, that do demos on new versions, new modules, new tools, right? Could be done with webinars or face-to-face. I know from partners that say, I raised the price of my maintenance and help desk contract, and I put in 1/2 day of consultancy, because this way I'm sure that I have at least with each and every customer half a day contact, so that they understand, are they happy or not, is something changing or not, to prevent that they run away. And then there's the letter that we just showed you, the stay customer arguments or stay customer reasons. And last but not least, some of them introduce price advantage. So what is price advantage? And now I skip the explanation letter because we've seen that. And I come to the slide that shows the simple example of price advantage. So what you see here is a simple example where you introduce a new module of your solution or maybe a new service. The price of this is 2,000 if you have a maintenance contract. So, you know, you send out a quotation, a mailing, whatever, or it's a page on your website that says price for customers with support contract, pay 2,000 euros, and people that don't have it pay 2,500. Now here's the trick. Even if you have 100% coverage and all your customers are on a maintenance contract, they still get a good feeling because seeing this, they made 500 euros, right? Again, you're the only one who knows if you got 100% coverage or not. So I would like you to think about, if you want, if you're open for that, that you make a difference and you show the advantage. If you're a customer, it's for you. If not, you know, you pay more. Actually, we do the same in QBS, right? We write these nice reports. Hopefully you found the time already to read our directions report. And we say, if you're a QBS partner, it's part of what you pay. It's free for you. If you're not, you have to pay money, right? Same effect. Okay, so far the easy stuff. Now we get the more difficult pictures, as you can see. So I would like to give the mic to Anne and Ernst to tell you a little bit more about things you need to know about customer maintenance renewals. Anne.
Yeah, okay, so I will kick off with this part. So for you as a partner, from a more practical point of view, you are responsible to renew the service plans or maintenance plans for your customers. Every year the renewal comes by, and then it's up to you to say, okay, I want to renew or not. A lot of partners due to whatever issues, time or whatsoever, they sometimes don't have the opportunity to renew the service plans in time. So I want to show you this practical overview which every partner has. Every Dynamics partner has access to Partner Source, and when you log into Partner Source and scroll down the page, you will see a beautiful overview. It's called My Messages, and it's available for every partner. And from here, you can make a couple of selections to see which renewals for your customers are upcoming. So you can select the active customers. You can make a preview for the remaining days which you want to see. And from there on, you can see exactly which customers have their renewal upcoming. So it's, if you do that every week, it's just 3-4 minutes work. Then you have a complete overview of all the renewals coming up, and then you can action on that. Because we all know once a maintenance plan is not renewed, there are some challenges we have and you have, and perhaps we can go to the next slide and Ernst can tell you more about that, about the practical point of view, what issues may happen when a service plan is for whatever reason not renewed.
Okay, Ernst, so can you add something about the issues?
Yes. Could you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Yes, perfect. Thanks for your clear clarification, Guus. This is the auto bill function. This is a very important option in Partner Source Business Center. As just mentioned by my colleague Anna, is with the My Message screen, you have the option to see an overview of all the upcoming BREP renewals, and when you click on one of the customers, you get this service plan information. And that means that when you see the service plan information, you see on the right side the expiration date. That's a very important date for the BREP renewals, because that means that this is the date that the maintenance plan must be renewed. In this example for this customer is that the 24th of June next year. It's just an example. And what you can see on the button, the auto bill function. And for this example, the auto bill function is opted in, enroll in auto bill. You can see the option, the think. And that means that for this customer, the maintenance plan will automatically renewed. But you have, of course, the option to opt it out, this auto bill function. Then it's up to you to renew this maintenance contract or enhancement plan manually. And it's your responsibility again to renew this just in time. Now, what you can see on the right side in the button is when you forgot to renew this enhancement plan, there is some lapsed fee involved in this procedure. And that means that if your end customer, the maintenance plan from your end customer is lapsed at the moment, the first point is of course, the Microsoft system will check for a maximum of 3 years back for the enhancement plan. For example, when the enhancement plan is still lapsed for 100 days, you need to pay the 100 days plus 3% lapsed fee. That's the first point. The second point is that your partner discount will go back to 10% for the lapsed period for maximum of 3 years back and for the next 1 year.
And then, Ernst, just a question. You say go back to 10%. I'm not sure if everybody knows what the normal percentages are. So is that, what's that, 11 or 12? What is normal?
Normal in general form is at 22 or 18.
So going back to 10 is really losing a lot of money. Is that what you say?
Absolutely.
Okay.
for the lapsed period and for the next 365 days. And the third one is that the protected list price, the PLP, is not protected anymore. And that means that if you buy this license, for example, 3 years back for a price of 10,000 euros, and the price at the moment for the same license is the 15,000 euros, in that case you need to pay the maintenance based on the latest price, in this example 15,000 euros, for the coming years. Not for 1 year, not for 2 years, for the coming years. And that's the third very important rule in this situation. So, and that's the reason that we thought we organized this session to prevent you for lapse situation of your end customers.
But Ernst, if this protected list price and this example 10 to 15,000, that basically means I have to pay 50% more.
Yeah, normally you pay for the 10,000 euros 60% each year.
Yeah.
But in this case, you have to pay 60% over the 15,000 euros.
Yeah, but
that's the difference.
If I'm the partner, would it be realistic to expect that I can go to my partner and say, sorry, Microsoft charged me more, can you pay me 50% more? Is that realistic?
No, yeah, but that's the rule, that's the situation, and then it's up to the partner to decide. Do I compensate this gap for my own bill, or can I invoice that to the end customer as well?
Well, if I have been sleeping as a partner, I didn't pay attention enough. If I were a customer, I would say that's your problem.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the real problem. What we see in the partner channel is that somebody calls us and say, okay, this customer is lapsed at the moment, but I have a challenge. How can I solve this?
Explain one more time what lapse is, because it's between brackets. What does lapse mean?
A lapse is the what's the better word for lapsed? Is the
expired.
Expired. That's
okay.
the better word.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because everybody talks with their own jargon, right? So expired means they don't have contract anymore, and then they want to get back in.
Exactly.
Yep. Okay. But then I'm not a specialist, right? I tried to come with a simple question. So you said something about auto billing. So if auto billing is always on, I never get lapsed customers. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And then would you advise me as a partner, or would you advise the partners in the call to have auto bill always on?
Yeah, that's up to the partner, of course. That is a decision of the end of the partner. That one of the benefits for the auto bill function, what's opted in, is that you have no one of the benefits is that the maintenance will be renewed automatically without any problem from the partner side, and you receive automatically an invoice from the QBS organization. And that's the reason that we always explain to the partner, please send the end customers 60 days before the expiration date your invoice.
Okay, that's I think the next slide, right? Shall I show it here? Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we talk about advices.
Yeah.
Is that what you say in the first line?
That's our advice, to invoice your end customer 60 days before this renewal date or the expiration date, and that you are sure that you received your money just in time before you receive the invoice from the QBS organization as well.
Yeah.
But that's absolutely an advice from our side. There are some partners, they say, okay, I don't use this auto bill function, and I will send, of course, the invoice 60 days before the expiration date, and I can wait until the expiration date if we decided to renew that, yes or no. But it's only an option in this process for the partner to use it.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so they need to be proactive. That's what you say, rather than being reactive. That could save a lot of troubles and a lot of money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Problems and money and explanation to your end customer. But that's our advice in this situation.
Now I know that in the past that we've been able to helping QBS partners because you guys happen to have a good relationship with people in Ireland, the EOC. But you also told me this morning that the way Microsoft works is changing. Can you tell a bit about that, Anna?
Yeah, in the past, we had some, EOC in Dublin was different organized, let's say it, call it that way. There's a new Microsoft organization at the moment, and the exceptions which we got in the past, we don't get them anymore, not that much as we were used to get. So also to the partner again, the remark from please take a close look at the renewal orders coming up for your customers, because when a service plan lapses, we can't do that much anymore to get a special deal discount or get your service plan re-enrolled without those mentioned penalties.
Yep.
So it's important. The penalties will be applied in 99% of the cases. And other remark, if you have a lapsed customer, please be aware that it's also counting negative in your BRRR calculation. It's nice way we use, or a nice word we use, but that's the calculation we do twice a year to decide what your BREP discount will be. So that might drop down if you have a lot of lapsed customer service plans.
Okay. So all in all, I would say enough reasons for partners to pay attention to this.
Yeah.
Now I know it's your job, so you might say it's easy to do, right? That's what all specialists would say. But I can imagine that partners, maybe they're not too big or they got changes in employees, might say it's difficult. So yeah, I'm just wondering, at QBS we're here to help partners. That's our job. I often say people send QBS to planet Earth to help partners. That's what we do. So I would be interested to think how we could help partners in any other way. If they have questions, can they call us? Can we help them? How does that work?
Definitely, they can call, and we have a service desk system for our partners where they can log their tickets. We have a team of 10 partner care specialists who can help you with all your questions around this topic, around maintenance, service plans, whatsoever. And also, if you don't know or don't know exactly how to manage this, we are of course there to help you. So.
And then, as I understand, we have a team of 10, but we also cover different languages. Is that correct?
Yeah,
so we speak Dutch and English in Holland, but we got people in Denmark and in Spain.
Yeah, we have a Spanish team as well. A colleague in Denmark.
Germany.
Germany. So we are covering quite a couple of languages.
Okay, that's good.
And we communicate with the EOC team, and the EOC team is from Microsoft in Ireland, and we have a dedicated team where we can communicate with that team about the issues of the QBS partners.
Okay, good. And one more question to you, if it's okay. So I go one slide back where you say this lapsed customer, right? That's still intriguing me.
No, this example is active. Because for this customer, we receive an invoice on the 24th of June next year. Yeah. But it's just an example.
So in the right left or in the right corner, you say what happens, let's say with penalties and stuff. Can you give an indication, just for my idea and for the people in the call, on an average deal size, let's say a 10-user deal, a 10-user license? How much money that could be that you lose in a year? Can you give us any indication on that?
What I do is in this situation is to create a quote in the Microsoft system and the Partner Source Business Center system, and based on the quotes we can exactly see what is the penalties in this situation.
Yeah.
But that depends of the list price, the license price, the total license price, and the lapse period, and how many models are in the configuration, in the license configuration. So that's
Of course,
difficult to
but
say.
is it €100? Is it 1,000? Is it 5,000?
No,
10,000?
1,000.
To get back on your initial questions about the 10 user license in, let's say, the perpetual NAV module, that will be €3,600.
€3,600. Okay.
Yes.
So, dear listeners, please try to imagine how much new deals you have to sign, how many services you have to sell with a certain margin to get to a point where you break even on 3,600, right? That's only for one customer. So I think it's worthwhile, to spend time, not to put your head in the sand as we saw in the beginning. And if you don't know, you need help, to let us know. So I think we're in the end now, if it's okay for you, Anna and Ernst, unless we get questions. So it's always interesting to see if it's possible to get questions in a webinar, especially difficult for the guys and girls that don't have any screen, just the voice. Can we see the questions? We have any?
I don't see anything
No questions
coming up.
so far. So, Anna, if people have questions and they would send an email to PartnerCare, what's the email address they use best?
Well, we use the service desk for our for all the partners. For whatever question you have, just use the service desk. You have access to this. If you don't have access to this service desk, then send an email to support@qbsgroup.com, and then we will pick it up from there.
Okay, good. Well, no questions, at least in this audience. So if you have questions, you want to do a one-on-one, you found my email address in the start of the presentation. You can go to support. So then I think we're at the end of this QBS Talks. I think I forgot to give you a list of the new QBS Talks, because we've scheduled a series of new ones about different topics for different personas in your organization. If you like the concept and you are open for help and improve your business, again, that's the reason why we do this. So then please join or check the website for new QBS Talks coming up. What we will do is we'll send the recording to all the people that were in. So then again, for the guys who didn't see it, at least you can see the slides. And if you would be interested to get those documents that are in, then please send us an email as well, because you might get some inspiration from there. Okay, having said that, I think we're done. Where we live, it's getting dark outside, so I would say good evening to all of you. But
Yes.
wherever you live, could be good morning, good afternoon, and hope to see you soon back in some other edition of QBS Talks. Have a nice evening.